So let's move on, Seb. You very brilliantly mentioned Matt there. And our first morning session is going to be hosted by Matt Bourn, Director of Communications at the Advertising Association, who'll be giving a keynote. So let's welcome him on the stage. Thank you, Matt.
Wow, thank you, Seb. Thank you, Geeta. So I'm Matt Bourn. I'm the Comms Director of the Advertising Association, also Comms for AdNet Zero. And it's brilliant to be here today to talk to you about essentially how, how advertising can help tackle the climate change. Now, I'll let you into a secret. Comms Director, your role is to essentially make other people into the spotlight. You know, you prepare your chief exec or your managing director or whoever it might be. But you have to ride shotgun because occasionally they can't do it and the opportunity needs to be fulfilled. So you might find yourself on national telly or you might find yourself at the sharp end of a journalist interview. So this was me back in April. I was at the House of Lords, and I'd found out the night before that I was going to give evidence on behalf of the advertising industry to the Environment Committee, and to essentially talk about the role of advertising communications when it comes to tackling climate change. And I sat where Professor Chris Whitty had sat the day before, you know, right in the hot seat. And I'm not going to lie to you, it was the toughest 2 hours of my life, professionally. It was an incredible grilling. I thought I was going in for kind of a 30-minute conversation, and they let me out 2 hours later. And I was faced down by 15 lords and baronesses with very heavily entrenched views of our industry and the work that we do. And they were asking very, very difficult questions about the role of advertising and the role of advertising in the climate crisis. And it made a huge impression on me. And the reason I wanted to talk about it is because this is the resulting report. Published last month, in our hands, Behaviour Change for Climate and Environmental Goals. And you can see the coverage that's coming through from the BBC. And in the House of Lords report, they highlight advertising industry's fundamental role in helping make this happen. It's critical, and there is a great deal more than just lost sales if we fail. So we have to get this right. Now, the big question with the Lords that was being discussed was, where does the responsibility for behaviour change lie? You know, or can it be solved through just one campaign? And I was lucky in the sense that when I was appearing, we'd just published a report, and we'd done some analysis of essentially what happened to ad spend during COVID. And you know, arguably COVID is the biggest public health crisis we've faced. And what happened with ad spend during 2020 and 2021 is government spending went from pretty much 0% to being our biggest advertiser overnight. And this is what we started to talk about, the role of the government advertising within a public health crisis. And I want to reflect on this advertising. It's really, really clear behaviour change. Every 20 seconds making a difference. Every video call is making a difference. And this messaging, I'm really proud of the fact that our advertising industry, brands, agencies, media owners, they all backed that messaging. Really clear. And it was incredibly important, life-saving pieces of information. Now, for the media students watching, forget this, forget Orson Welles when he sent terrified Americans running to the hills back in 1938 when he broadcast that the Martians were landing. As far as I'm concerned, this, I think, is the most powerful piece of behaviour change campaign we've ever seen. Our industry helped the government change the daily routine of the UK population in a matter of days. So the big question as we sat and I was talking with the House of Lords is, where's the behaviour change campaign for this? Where is it? I can't see it. At least I can't see it as clearly as I think we need to see it. And whose job is it to set the messaging of that? Whose job is it to deliver it? What's the role of an advertiser in all of this? Because we know we can help change behaviours, But the nature of climate change is so all-pervasive. It touches on every aspect of our lives. It's quite paralyzing. So is a government responsible for setting the messaging? Or is this something that our industry can take leadership on and can get ahead of? That's what I believe. I think our industry is capable of doing that. So, and the really exciting thing for me about this is that there are really good implications if we do it. Right? There are ways to save money. There are ways to be healthier. There are ways to help the fight against Putin through saving energy. There are ways to be more connected. There are ways to bring about a complete regeneration in the way we live our lives. All of that is thanks to kind of new sustainable business models that are coming through. And they need our help to accelerate them. Now, as an industry, we're not going to be short of briefs to do that. We're going to be asked all the time, sustainable products, sustainable services, promote these. And our responsibility in this is to answer those with brilliant creative, brilliant strategy, brilliant technical and production excellence, just like what we see in places like Park Village. But we have to remain true to the regulators, the ask of our regulators in the industry. We have to make sure our work is legal, decent, honest, and truthful. And yesterday's session with the ASA, I thought was fascinating, how they're looking at the likes of the HSBC ad campaign and where we need to make sure we get it right when it comes to behavior change. So we all have a role, is my message. Every single one of us working in the industry. And I want to start with the government, actually, and its role, because there's many examples of where the government can support this drive towards decarbonisation. Here's an example. So our government decided to ban petrol car sales by 2030. And what we've seen as a result of that is a share of ad spend for electric vehicles and hybrids go from 7% to 73% by the end of 2021. Way ahead of real-world sales, because what we've got is a mature market of vehicle owners and a number of companies that are looking to move people towards electric vehicles. So advertising is essentially, if you're coining a phrase, priming the pump. It's getting people ready to own electric vehicles. And what I love to see is how advertising is normalizing the behavior of owning an EV. And this is an ad produced by Havas, which does exactly that.
I'm busy, busy, busy doing nothing. Doing nothing, that's the life for me. For when I'm doing nothing, I'm busy doing something. Something that suits me to a T. Because I'm busy, busy doing nothing.
Charge up for under £5 with EDF and help drive UK emissions to nothing while you sleep.
I love that ad because in my head I'm like, right, I'm going to bed and need to make sure I'm charging my laptop, I'm charging my mobile. Oh, at some point soon I'm going to need to be charging my car. It's adding that normalizing of behavior in. Really simple example. But it isn't just governments that have a role. Industries and businesses can lead on this as well. So I'll give you some more ad spend data, this time for meat products, okay? Meat as a category. In 2022, it's going to be a tipping point. There will be more money spent advertising plant-based alternatives than there will be to meat. UK figures. So more than 50% of all ad spend. Encouraging people to eat less meat, which is a good, healthy option, but also good for the climate. It's essentially testing and creating a new category. So I'll show you another ad, an example this time by Adam and Eve DDB, how they use humor and emotion to encourage people to consume a little less meat.
New corn ham-style slices make the most delicious sandwiches. In fact, they're so tasty, I wouldn't bother wondering what the alternative might be. What alternative?
Exactly.
Forget about the alternative, Lisa. Corn deli slices, so tasty. Why choose the alternative?
And I love that, again, no mention of climate crisis in that. It's about promoting plant alternatives. Okay, so another nudge in the right behavior, and we don't have to put a climate crisis, we have to take action message right at the center of it. So for me, advertising sits at the heart of all this behavior change, and we have the customer insights to inform the type of work that we've got to do. And we undoubtedly have the ability to make new things really exciting to people. The thing about this is I don't think the solutions have to be necessarily, they have to impact negatively on our quality of life or our enjoyment or our fulfillment of life. Quite the opposite. And we have to turbocharge it. Now, the best example I think I've seen yet, in terms of all the ads that I watch, because I watch ads every single day, is the work that's been done by Sky and the Sky Zero Footprint Fund, which is a competition for SMEs that have sustainable products or services to offer. And they win airtime. They win airtime, and essentially it's about telly helping those businesses be famous and succeed. So this, I'm going to play you, it's 2.5 minutes, it's an ad break. I want you to watch it and just sort of take in the kind of the sense of what sort of world this is building.
And now, Sky Zero is proud to present our 5 Footprint Fund winners in a very special ad break.
My dear, so I'm in a bloody mess.
Man are costing too much to run.
Servant problems.
No, you know, bloody mess, down there.
My dear, have you not tried these? They're 100% organic cotton, no synthetic fibres, dyes or fragrances.
And I hear 5% goes to menstrual charities.
And they're compostable, so the gardener can bury them in your rose bush.
Brandy's in the smoking room.
Flow. No more period dramas.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Turning off the lights isn't just better for the planet. It makes watching telly better too. So go on, flick that switch. For more ways to cut carbon at home, search OVO Carbon Tips.
For your pension and investments to grow, there are only 2 paths they can take. Damaging investments in things like fossil fuels and polluting industries that are harming the planet. Or you can take the path where your money is only invested in solutions such as renewable energy and carbon capture, helping to benefit you financially and the planet for future generations. Path. Unlock the power in your pension and investments.
Pure wipes, 100% plastic-free, for a smaller carbon footprint. Order now at mypura.com.
I love that because I can imagine a world where every ad is a green ad. I think the question is, how quickly can we get to that? How quickly can we see examples of positive behavior change, either overtly or even just pushing people nudging people in different directions across all the categories, all the sectors of our economy. And I think that is possible. And as a collective group, advertisers, agencies, and media owners, imagine if every ad break, if every ad carried out of home, if every ad carried in a news brand or on a radio station or on a platform was doing that kind of job for us. What sort of sustainable way of life could we actually end up supporting? So that's really Ad Net Zero to me. That's what Ad Net Zero is all about. We know, hopefully you're familiar with the action plan, and there's been lots on that. But, for me, it's about Action 5, and it's about the House of Lords report, and it's about behaviour change campaigns. And essentially, my question really for everybody watching this and for everybody reflecting on the second Global Summit of Ad Net Zero is, what am I doing to turbocharge behaviour change campaigns across the piece? Because my view is that every single person has a role. So the question I would say to an advertiser and the marketing team is, are you looking at how much of your marketing spend is investing in sustainable products, services, and sustainable behaviours? When you're an agency team, how much of your work in 2023 is going to be about encouraging sustainable behaviours? If you're a media owner or a platform, when you look at your ad inventory that you're going to run next year, how much of that is actually going to be about promoting the types of sustainable behaviours that we saw there? Because frankly, the quicker we get to that, quicker we adopt that mindset and look at our work, the better the job will be. The easier my job would be if I go back in to talk to the House of Lords Environment Committee, because I will have a whole suite of examples of the work that we can do to help build a more sustainable way of life. So, in summary, I think where we're headed here is really trying to highlight and champion the very best work when it comes to behaviour change. We talked a little about the Campaign Ad Net Zero Awards, and we'll be announcing those winners on the 23rd of November. That's the start. That's the start. I would urge everybody to be thinking about the work they're producing, how they put that forward for next year's awards as well. It's the first year, and we want to get sustainability. We talked about this redefining creative excellence. We want to get sustainability and behaviour change right at the centre of that conversation. So, in summary, this is kind of where I'm at. Ad Net Zero, the community that we're building and that we're growing internationally as well, is really about learning together. It's about looking at each other's work and saying, do you know what? That Sky Zero Footprint Fund, that is excellent. What's our version of that? What do we do to support this? And how do we ultimately together turbocharge what we all know we've got to do, which is to really help every industry get to the point where what they offer is more sustainable. And with that, I'm going to say thank you very much for listening to me, and I'm more than happy to discuss this with anybody as a follow-up on this, and thanks for your time.